Hi guys, we're getting started a few minutes early. I just wanted to make sure my connection worked. I was having problems last week when I recorded something and it didn't work, so I just wanted to jump on here a little bit early to make sure that the internet worked, the connection worked, and all the things worked. So today we're going to dive into some really interesting topics, and I'm so excited because we're announcing the winner for the raffle. So for those of you guys that don't know, I have been nominated for Best of Long Island for Holistic Doctor, and I'm so grateful for that. I actually won in 2018, and I'm like so grateful for that. But this year the nominations are out, and so what's happening with the raffle, if you're new to this, is that every single day you're able to vote. I don't know why, but Best of Long Island has a very long voting process. It starts in October and it ends December 15th. So basically what's happening is that every single day you can vote for your nomination or your nominee of choice. So each day you can vote, each day you can vote, each day you can vote. So every time you vote, you actually get put into a raffle. And the raffle, it's almost like when you're younger, you can just keep, put 500 tickets into the basket of your choice and you could potentially win. That's what's been happening. So with each and every vote that you guys send to me for like a screen share, or you can even share it directly from Best of Long Island's page, you get a raffle ticket, if you will, a virtual raffle ticket. And I use one of those like random generator apps, and I have a winner. I'm so excited to announce the winner. Well deserving, because this person definitely has been voting consistently every single day. I actually think you can vote multiple times in the day as well. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I will be announcing the winner. What you're going to get as the winner is a bottle of enzyme or supplement of your choice. There are restrictions. Some of the products I have are very higher end products. Some of them are a little bit too costly for the free giveaway. But you do get a free bottle of enzymes or supplement of your choice. So I will announce the winner at the end. You have to stay tuned. But very well deserved, because I know that this person has been voting like super consistently. I don't even think there was a day that has gone by that they haven't shown their support. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you. So I really want to say thank you. Let's dive into this, because I have a feeling after I looked at my little invite, I have some notes here. I thought to myself, I probably could have broken this up into like 12 segments and just done one IG segment or one, this might even go on YouTube later, segment, because all of these things are so nitty gritty. But let's just get right into this, because there is some really great stuff I want to share with you guys about some of these topics. So one of it, let's just go, I'm going to go off the invite here. Let's start with the first one, which is how to overcome anxiety with herbal medicine and mindset shifts. I really want to talk about this because I would say probably on every single intake form when people come to see me, there is on their intake form anxiety written down in terms of what they're coming to see me for. They're coming to see me for bloating. They're coming to see me for digestive issues, stealth infections, candidiasis, viral load, whatever might be going on for them. But there is on my intake form, there's top 3. So I want to know the top 3, and anxiety is really always on that top 3 health concern. So I want to talk a little bit about some herbs that can support anxiety. Now, anxiety, it's not just mindset. I don't want to just say, oh, it's the way you're thinking about things. That's not true. I think that there are so many instances where people are dealing with chemical anxiety where their hormones are out of place. What can happen with anxiety is that when your hormones are not in a good place, you feel super, super anxious. Which hormones? Well, a lot of them have to do with the adrenal glands. So things like cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, some of the hormones that are supposed to do things in our brain can cause problems. Also thyroid hormone issues. So if someone's dealing with anything thyroid related, Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, or even hypothyroidism, those are some of the chemical reasons we can be dealing with anxiety. So I don't want to just sit here and say mindset is what you want to do, because that's not true. You can't, with your mind, fix some of the problems going on from a chemical perspective. Yes, you can influence those things, but let's talk about the herbs. Now, I wanted to bring, but I didn't bring it here home, a bottle of something that I use and practice. I have some top selling products that I like, but I'll share with you some of the compounds. So if you are someone that's dealing with anxiety, feeling like no matter what you do, you can't shut off the thoughts. It's just like the speed of the thoughts you're racing, you're ruminating, you're stirring. Oftentimes it's from hormonal issues. That's really first and foremost. A lot of you guys that are watching this that are my patients, you know I do very comprehensive blood work. I'm looking at everything. Thyroid hormones, sex hormones, but that's something that has to be addressed if you're dealing with anxiety, because when the hormones are not in your favor, you actually can feel horrible, really horrible. So some of the herbs that work really nice, things like rose hips, gotu kola, eleutherococcus, astragalus. Probably a lot of you guys that are dealing with anxiety may recognize some of these herbs as adaptogen herbs. Adaptogen herbs are herbs that help us to adapt. So think about, like, when I take an adaptogen, I'm able to adapt to the situation more easily. And so those are really great herbs to use. I love adaptogens. I think that they work. They don't always work on everybody. And the interesting thing with anti-anxiety herbal medicine is that some things can actually exacerbate your symptoms. So for example, St. John's wort, 5-HTP, kava kava, certain herbal medicine cocktails, if you will, actually create more anxiety for people depending on what's going on for them. So everybody's bodies are innately different, and you really want to structure what works for you. Work with someone, obviously, like myself, that practice functional medicine, but there are some general things like adaptogenic herbs. So I love eleutherococcus, I love astragalus, I love gotu kola. A lot of those are very calming, very sedative. Sometimes even teas are very helpful too. So I'm here, I have my tea, drinking my tea. I hope you guys have a beverage, because today is going to be a little bit of a longer day. But teas are very medicinal. There's some calming teas that work. But there again, I'm not saying this buyer beware, but I'm just sharing with you certain things can actually make people feel more anxious, even though they're supposed to be anti-anxiety. Example, melatonin. People sometimes share with me that they take melatonin to help them sleep. Now, we normally make melatonin as humans. We do produce melatonin on our own, but too much melatonin is actually a little bit more excitatory. So people actually can feel like heightened and hyper. Something that you might even know about is people that are dealing with ADHD or ADD. Sometimes they give them amphetamines. And you might be thinking, why would they give someone amphetamines that make them like ramped up when they're already hyper? It has kind of like a paradoxical effect. So I just want to caution you to some degree that if you're ever trying something that's anxiolytic or anti-anxiety and it doesn't work for you, don't be deterred or feel frustrated. It is normal that some of the compounds that are supposed to be calming, like GABA, are not always giving you that same result. Okay, so I love mindset stuff. I think meditation is a great thing. I've been practicing and working on meditation mindset. When you're anxious, you're just not present. So what does it mean to have anxiety? It means you're worried about the future. You're worried about tomorrow. You're worried about the past. You're worried about the next thing. You're worried about all of the things that are not in the present moment. So from a mindset standpoint, and I'm not negligent to just say mindset your way out of anxiety disorders, no. But there is some truth that helping you get in the right frame of mind will support you to feel calm and capable. So meditation is great. Now, I hear this a lot with myself included. People find it so difficult to meditate. They're like, I feel like I go into my head. I'm trying to get into my body. I feel like I'm going into my head. That's the point exactly, that we're all in our head. And when you're in your head, you're thinking. You're really not actually any of those thoughts that you're thinking. But anxiety means that you're actually not present in the moment and that you're thinking about something that hasn't happened yet. You're worried, you're fearful, you're thinking about the past. You're not in the present moment. So from a mindset standpoint, or from like a cognitive standpoint, always kind of bring yourself back into your body, because that's something that a lot of times we fall out of. And I totally get it. It's not an easy practice. It's not something that we even learn when we're younger. It's like no one talks about this stuff. But adaptogenic herbs are great. Mindset shifts are also great. So a couple things there in terms of anxiety. If you're looking for products, if you're someone that's like, I really need a recommendation, one of the things I would encourage you to think about before you even ask for a recommendation is make sure you're looking at the full picture. Because sometimes people say, well, what's your recommendation for this one thing? Or I'm dealing with anxiety. What can I take? It's not as simple as one thing. Your health, unfortunately, and fortunately, is not linear. So one thing, it's not like the equation A plus B equals C. That's not how the body works. It's actually more like A plus B to the square root of 12 minus the brackets of with the absolute value equal the alphabet soup exponentially. Like that's more of the equation. So I just want to share with you guys that it's not as linear as I have this problem. What's the one thing that I could do to support this problem? My best recommendation though is if you're struggling, do the comprehensive blood work. Patients love it. I love it. It's a nice way to actually say, I see what's going on from a more general picture. I see all of the players in the game in terms of what's going on. Okay, so if you're dealing with anxiety, get blood work. It would be very therapeutic for you to get the hormones tested because likely with anxiety disorders, there's a hormonal thing going on in the background. Ways to support painful menstruation and why it happens in the first place. This is like a global pandemic with this topic. So many women are dealing with painful periods, like really painful periods. Young girls, people in their 20s, people in their 30s. It has no age range. It is a little bit more common for the younger population with their new cycles to be having some pain with their menstruation because what happens is this is what's happening in a nutshell. I'm making it very simplified, but I want to share this with you guys. Why does someone have painful periods? It's the ratio of estrogen to progesterone that's off. Now, there's 3 versions of estrogen. There's 3 types, E1, E2, E3. We're not going to dive into that, but there's 3 versions of estrogen. What happens is that when you're new to your cycle, your estrogen levels are much higher than progesterone, and that's where pain comes from. Like 9 out of 10 times. That's what's happening with painful periods, is that somebody has too much estrogen and not enough progesterone. It's the ratio of the 2. Now, as we get a little bit older, so if someone's maybe younger, it's their first time menstruating, as we get older, that can get better just naturally with time. Sometimes that's not the case. So what is painful menstruation? It's a hormone imbalance. Which hormones are imbalanced? It's the ratio of estrogen to progesterone that are not balanced. We need to raise the progesterone levels a little bit. Also, zinc therapy. Zinc works numbers on people's menstruation for painful periods. It works wonderful for women that are dealing with painful periods. There's also other things like from a mineral standpoint, from a cofactor standpoint that also support periods. Compounds like DIM, diindolylmethane, 3-indolylcarbinol. Those are all things that clear the liver out, which is another aspect. So if someone's saying, I have painful periods, what do I do? One of which is A, hormones. Check your hormones, namely the sex hormones. Not all hormones are sex hormones, but these ones are. Estrogen, progesterone. B, make sure that you're taking enough zinc because zinc is very good for painful periods. It just works wonders on the female reproductive system. Number 3, you really want to make sure that your liver is cleansing and filtering because the liver is actually the organ where we filter out the hormones. So we make hormones in our ovaries and then those hormones get liberated and then they bind to different target tissue. Well, if someone has liver stagnation or a fatty liver or sludge in their gallbladder or anything going on with the biliary tract, you clean out the liver to help with hormone balance. It's just always in the protocol for painful periods. And you have to be careful with doing this because whenever you open someone's liver, if you will, you don't want to just like liberate toxic compounds, which that's what it is. Think of the example like a dirty fish tank. If you have a really dirty fish tank and you shake it, all of that stuff's going to come up. Now it's in the blood. So whenever we do liver support with people, we just have to be gentle. It's not usually step 1 just because you're liberating toxic compounds, you're liberating biofilms, stealth infections, things that are in the liver, which by default, the liver is our area in our body that is holding and harboring toxins. So that's always something to be mindful of too. There's a way to do it gently, if you will. There's a way to do it gently because you don't want to do it too quick where someone's in a lot of pain with, liberating these toxic compounds. So if you're dealing with painful periods, get tested. If nothing shows up, and that can happen too, where people say, I got my hormones tested, nothing showed up. That doesn't mean that we don't move forward with care. We definitely would. My personal thoughts as a provider, holistic provider, is I don't treat labs. Yes, I use lab work as tools, as guiding factors, but just because you don't have something show up in your labs doesn't mean it's not there. Lab testing is only as good as our ability to understand certain things from a human perspective, but the body is vastly intelligent. So for example, let's just use this. If someone fractures a bone, they have to have a certain level of damage in order to see it on an x-ray. So let's just say, I think it's 30%. 30% like damage. I forget what the equation is, but meaning that if you're 28%, you're not seeing it. You have to have enough damage to be able to pick it up. That's true for a lot of things as well. A lot of my endometrial women, they know this. They have gotten imaging on their pelvic, abdominal pelvic sonograms. They've gotten internal exams. They said, we don't see any endometrial tissue. Sure enough, their symptoms are there. Maybe the surgeon says, let's do something about this. They go in and there's endometrial tissue everywhere. I hear that far too often from women, especially because I work so intimately with menstruation. So the point is that imaging is limited. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's not its fault, but it's man-made. We've created MRI, we've created X-ray, we've created sonogram, ultrasound as humans, but we don't know everything there is to know about the body. And so just be mindful that we're a little bit restricted with some of the imaging. So I treat people, not labs, not imaging. So if you're dealing with painful periods, even though your hormones have come back normal, just know that there's some support that you can do through definitely the adrenal glands. Those are the backup ovary in the female body. So supporting the adrenal glands, balancing estrogen to progesterone, which we talked about, cleansing the liver, because that's where we do phase 1 through 3 liver detoxification and conjugation, which is so important for the hormones. Okay. And I know I'm kind of going through this fast. I do want to open this up to questions. If you guys have questions at the end, let me know, because I don't want to I'll get distracted. So I'm like, oh, look, a bird. Okay, my thoughts on the newly created viral vaccine. I know that this is a hot topic. This is a really hot topic. And I just, I'm not here to say yes or no, do it, don't do it. That's just not my role. But my best suggestion is educate yourself. What the heck is in these vaccines? You really want to do some research, and you want to do research that's not biased, meaning it's like, we go to our friends for advice, and our friends might all be our friends and they might just tell us what we want to hear. That's not the kind of research I'm saying to do. Really educate yourself on the kind of different perspectives around the vaccines, because there's a lot of literature that kind of shares many opposing things, and you really want to know all of the things. It's like, put the cards on the table so that we know everything, good, bad, ugly, so that we can make an educated, informed decision. But let's talk about the vaccine. The vaccine's purpose is to give you a viral particle with the hopes that your immune system mounts a memory and a immune response, so that you actually have basically a memory, immunological memory around, I've seen this before. However, buyer beware. Okay, so I'm very anti-vaccines. That's just me. I don't get any vaccines. I don't get any flu shots. I'm different. So I'm not saying that that's what you should do. Everyone's bodies are so different. But my personal opinion is I don't want to be bothered with any of the vaccines. I'm not interested in any types of chemicals, because what's happening is that in the process of having your body vaccinated, they're giving you, they're giving you a piece of the vaccine or piece of the virus, whether it's live or dead. But they're also putting in some compounds that are pretty toxic, and they're called adjuvants. Adjuvants are added to vaccines in response or in hopes to create this massive immune response, which for some people never turns off. There's large bodies of research and literature out there. There might be somebody that you know that has had vaccine injury, where they took a vaccine and they got very sick. Their immune systems became extremely dysregulated. They had numbness, their arm went numb, lots of things. I've actually worked with patients that have shared stories very similar to this one, where they got sick from a vaccine because the vaccine was almost too robust for them, or their immune system was too sensitive. Everyone's so different. We all have different genetics. We all have different makeups, and the way we can process things. But what's in the vaccine? It's actually part of the virus. So there's either dead or live particles from the virus. There's adjuvants, which are toxins that purposely add to your immune response. So things like mercury. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm so tea break, maybe because I'm talking so much. Metals, aluminum. There's just compounds in there that are toxic to the body. Squalene oils, they put them in there. Thimerosols in vaccines. Fetal aborted tissue is in vaccines. This is actually from the CDC. So I have a little list of things. This is from the CDC, which I'm not against or for. It's just I don't want to be biased. I just want to share. But this is from the CDC, not that I follow them or care so much about what they have to say, but they share with you what they're putting in it. It's not secret. They're literally telling you there is fetal aborted tissue in the vaccine from the CDC. I'm not making that up. This isn't like hocus pocus. There's adjuvants, there's aluminum salts, there's sugars, there's oval albumin, there's egg particles. So for my vegans out there, my low sugar people out there, vaccines contain animal proteins, they contain fetal aborted tissue, and they contain eggs. So just something to be mindful of. Formaldehyde is in vaccines. That's what they preserve dead bodies with. This is literally from the CDC. I'm not making this up from my own research or from my own biased education piece. It's just, this is what's in it. Antibiotics, neomycin. So there's lots of things that they put in vaccines. Preservatives, fish, so many things. The list goes on. Sorbitol, stabilizers, emulsifiers, antibiotics, latex, acidity regulators, bovine products, so stuff that's coming from cows, recombinant DNA, human cell strains, animal cell strains, and genetically modified organisms. This is from the Vaccine Knowledge Project. So my thoughts are, my personal opinion, my personal thoughts are, I'm not interested in any of the vaccines. I'm actually trying to do a little bit of research around like the mandation of it, because it's very scary to think that we're going to be mandated to take this vaccine. If that's the case, I don't know what some of us will do our holistic selves, but these are things that are in vaccines. So you really just want to make yourself educated on what the heck am I putting in my body. And I'm not saying this to scare you guys. Some of you guys might be like, what? There's eggs in here. There's fetal aborted tissue from lung tissue. Yes, these are things that are in vaccines. So I'm not interested in the vaccine that's going to be coming out for this thing. My personal perspective is your body has a massive intelligence, both innate and adaptive. You have these super helpful responses from your immune system that are natural to you, that allow yourself to get it. Allow your own body's immune system, allow your own body's ability to fight. Of course, there are special populations of people that can't do that. Always preventative medicine is more helpful than, having diabetes or obesity and then trying to get, reverse that stuff. So it's always better to be more proactive and in a more preventative state to support your immune system. That's the most important thing you can do, rather than develop some type of chronic condition that lowers your ability to fight infection. Support yourself. Okay. Top recommendations for immune protection: zinc, lysine, monolaurin. All of the natural antivirals work wonders. So something I'll just share with you is I get cold sores, herpes simplex 1. Knock on wood, I haven't had them. But I take lysine. I take about high dose lysine, 5 grams a day, 3 to 5 grams of lysine a day. The point is that certain compounds like lysine and monolaurin, echinacea, golden seal, bilberry extract, garlic root, osha root, milk thistle, all of these herbs are really nice for the immune system and can prevent basically the virus from replicating. So elderberry is another one. And not everybody is a candidate for all immune system products, but I think vitamin C has its claim to fame for the immune system. And I do like vitamin C, but there's so many other compounds. There's actually a formula that I like. It's professional grade. A lot of the recommendations are only professional grade, so it's hard for me to give recommendations, but there's some really nice formulas that I use. There's respiratory formulas that work really well with some Chinese herbs in them. There's definitely some really good formulas that help support broad spectrum. That's the best thing to do, is really support yourself from a broad spectrum perspective. Antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, antiparasitical, anti-stealth infections. I know we didn't talk about this in the You're Invited invite, but stealth infections, I have a little video about this on YouTube and here on Instagram, are basically infections that hide under the immune system's radar. Those are things like candida, different types of strains of candida, candida albicans, whatever types there are, there's multiple. Epstein-barr, triple digit Epstein-barr, which is in the herpes family. There's a lot of infections that are stealth. some types of mold are considered stealth. They evade the immune system. They go under the radar. So people can be living with chronic infections and have no clue, and then all of a sudden wake up and say, I have cancer. Why? Well, your immune system was activated. Your lymphatic system was activated. And so those are all things to be mindful of, is how do we quiet the immune system's response? How do we support the lymphatic system in filtering and clearing things out? There's some really nice, like I said, antimicrobials that are, I do this, but they're broad spectrum supporters. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that if you're like, I really would like to get a couple products, message me. This isn't like a sales pitch, but if you're looking for stuff that can help you, send me a message. I'd be happy to send you products that I use in clinical practice that can support you, rather than buying stuff, unfortunately, from the store that aren't necessarily quality or professional grade. For example, I know a lot of you guys saw my video about vitamin D. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, they're not the vitamin specialty people. They're just not. They're not the supplement specialty people. Sometimes I look at their products and I'm like, no, this is not the right form. This is not bioavailable. This doesn't even have the right ingredients for the body. There's cofactors, there's coenzymes. So really buyer beware when it comes to product, because there's many times people come in, they bring me their gamut of stuff, and we look in their blood work and they're not absorbing it. It's just because it's not the most bioavailable. It's not the right product. So if you're interested in some products I have for the holiday season, I'm actually putting together little holiday packages where it's basically my top, Dr. Terzi's top recommendations for like my top 3 things. I don't like to give a ton of stuff. I don't want people feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm on 25,000 things. But if you are interested, send me a message, because I'd be happy to send you a little care package of my natural anti-immune system supporters. But I love zinc, I love elderberry, I love bilberry, osha root, biocetin's a really nice herb to use. The fail-proof way to prevent holiday weight gain from sugar cravings. This is so common, and I know that we're diving into the holidays coming, although it might be a little bit different this year with everything. What do I do? Guys, women, men, if I could say one thing, it's this. Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough protein? A lot of times when I'm working with nutrition therapy, I will recall with women what they're consuming, and it's very common that some people are only getting 40 grams of protein per day. It's not you the person. It's just that what happens when the body is so low with the nutrition is that, or with the protein, is that you will by default crave carbs and sugar. It's not you. And I know that we feel like, gosh, why can't I get it right? Willpower fails 9 out of 10 times when it comes to dieting, because you feel like you're fighting yourself. It's not that you don't have willpower. It's not that you don't have the ability to turn down cookies and cakes. It's just that your body's saying, please, I'm starving. I'm really hungry. And protein is the most satiating of all of the macros. Protein and fat of the two are the most satiating. And when I look at people's nutrition, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're eating 175 grams of starch and our protein intake is only 20 or 30. It puts you at a metabolic disadvantage. You will be constantly craving carbs and sugar. So get enough protein. What is my daily recommendation? It's so individual for everyone's basic needs, but from a general standpoint, what I will share with you guys is that protein intake should at least be 70 grams, men and women. That's low. That's on the low end. But if you're like, I just need a starting place, I need some type of help, some type of cookie cutter approach for right now, 70 grams of protein, even if you're plant-based, it doesn't need to be from animal sources. You can get it from plant sources as well. My body is not absorbing and utilizing protein, so that's something that's really important too. Just because you put things in your body doesn't mean you own them. Dr. Mark McRae, I will always remember him from school. He was incredible. He was a professor that was so intelligent and so scary at times. He would like crack the whip on us, but really educated around nutrition and biochemistry. Just because you put something in your body doesn't mean you own it. So you really want to make sure that your digestive system is able to process whatever you put in, whether that's nutrition, macros, protein, carb, and fat, supplements, melatonin, tryptophan, ashwagandha, eleutherococcus, or anything really, alcohol, medication, pharmaceuticals. Not that I'm endorsing those things, but everything we put in, imagine this. Imagine I send you a package from Amazon. I guess I wouldn't be sending it because I'm not Amazon, but imagine I sent you a package and you couldn't open it. who freaking cares what's in it? You want to be able to open it and process it. So if you're not absorbing, you definitely want to go to your digestive tract. Work with someone like myself that can get you absorbing, because each organ has a process. For example, when we eat food, down the tube we go, into our esophagus we go. Our stomach is actually where we start to process certain things, like we absorb B12. We have cells in our stomach, chief cells and parietal cells, and intrinsic factor that starts the absorption capacity of B vitamins. Our liver and gallbladder, it's interesting, but the liver and the gallbladder have two functions. It is both digestive in nature and lymphatic. So the liver and gallbladder are processing fat as well as helping our immune system. We want to make sure that we're having good liver gallbladder support to emulsify fat, which means kind of like make it softer. Like Dawn dish soap, we're emulsifying that really greasy dish. That's the job of the liver gallbladder. Am I digesting nutrients from my pancreas? Am I processing and allowing all of the glucose that I'm consuming and the fructose and all of these compounds in? So if you're not processing, there could be an infection hiding. That's a huge component of not processing. There could be some irritation with some of the organs. Work with someone, do some functional medicine work, do some naturopathic doctor work with someone in the holistic realm that can get your body back in balance and help you to process all of the things that you put in. Because if you're not processing protein, that means you're not getting things that you need for anxiety. We actually carry compounds and hormones around on protein. So if I'm not getting enough protein, maybe I'm putting it in, but I'm not digesting it. Now I'm running risk factors for anxiety disorders, sleep deprivation, because if we're not getting enough protein, our sleep can be affected. Hair, skin, and nails. Our nails break off. Our hair starts to get, thinned out. We have to absorb compounds because the macronutrients that we consume are the building blocks of our health. And protein is absolutely, if you're out there dealing with an autoimmune condition, Hashimoto's, thyroid dysfunction, if you're dealing with anything, positive ANA, lupus, Sjogren's, MS, any type of autoimmune condition, even autoimmune conditions that aren't fully manifesting, but you have a positive anti-nuclear antibody, or you feel something is shifting with the immune system, you do need protein, because all of your immune system, immunoglobulins, there's different types of them, IgGs, IgA, you need protein. That's all of the immunoglobulins in our body are protein in nature. So if you're not getting enough stuff, now you're at risk for getting infection. Now you're at risk for developing painful periods. Now you're at risk for hair, skin, and nails. It's so foundational. The digestive system is so foundational. So the fail-proof way, I digress, but to prevent holiday weight gain is get enough protein. Myself included, that if I don't eat enough protein, I'm always like, why am I so hungry? I'm looking, and I'm like, Elise, eat something. Sit down, pause, have a meal, because otherwise we become like these little ravenous, we're like looking, and we're like, why am I not getting filled up? We haven't really given ourselves sustenance and real food. So definitely, also there's some supplements that I use. Gymnemia isn't one of them, Gymnemia sylvestre. There's some plant-based herbs that really help to support pancreatic support, to help support, the glucose receptors and to balance out insulin. A lot of good supplements and enzymes that I use in practice too. So definitely, there's so many ways. You don't have to gain. I think that they say it's 7 pounds per year, that the average person gains 7 pounds per year during their menstrual cycle, during the holiday weight season. So you don't have to fall into that trap. Okay, there's ways we can support you through that process. I know I talked fast. The reason I did that is because I want to make sure I can get this content out. I did a video last week. It was too long, so I couldn't even post it for you guys, which is unfortunate. So I'm talking fast just so I can stay in the time frame of this platform. This all makes sense. You are wonderful. I'm in Arizona. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm so happy that you gain value. I'm in New York. I do work virtually with people. But I do want to open up the question. I want to open this up to questions, guys. So what questions do you have around any of the things that we talked about so far? I definitely want to help you guys through this process. And if you're interested about the vaccines, I can send you over where I got some of the research, Vaccine Knowledge Project, and also CDC. There's tons of stuff there that can help support you with learning about, is it right for me to get the vaccine? Should I, shouldn't I? Any questions, guys, before we get started? It's a beautiful day here in New York. I hope that in Arizona it's probably nice and warm. I was talking with a patient that I'm working with in Florida, and she had shared with me there was a hurricane that came. So I don't know what's going on in this world, but the weather is very strange. Oh, Carrie, I love you too. Well, I know you didn't. I love working with you too. You're such a great patient. You're so sweet. So Carrie is so sweet. She's a wonderful patient. And she's, I don't want to share too much, Carrie, because obviously I want you to feel comfortable. But she's done wonderful so far. We're new in each other's lives, and she's done amazing so far. Just amazing with her progress and her results and all of the things. What form of zinc do you recommend, both PMS and immune health? That's a great question. There's multiple versions of zinc. Sarah, how are you? I miss you too. I haven't seen you in a little bit. But there's different types of zinc. I will share with you my favorite recommendation. So if you guys have like specific questions on products, let me know. Send me a message so that I can share with you like the ones, because my concern is that if I share products, just like magnesium has different versions. There's magnesium threonate, magnesium glycinate, magnesium carbonate, magnesium citrate. They're all different like connectors, if you will. They all have different properties. So magnesium is so important as well. Or zinc is the same process. I want to share with you a good one, but a good brand as well. There's different kind of base pair conjugators. Hi, Abby. Where can I buy good quality products? What I would say, Denise, is let me know. If you guys are looking for quality products, let me know, because as a provider, I get quality products. So if there's something that you want, send me a message. I would be happy to put together, if you're like, I want this, I'll put together a little care package for you and get you guys some quality products. How do I know they're quality? Because they're things I use in clinical practice. So I don't know about products from Vitamin Shop or GNC or VitaCost or Thrive Market, because I don't really get a chance to follow up with them in terms of the lab work or even patient encounter with how they feel. You know, are they sleeping better? Are they pooping? Are they feeling better with their focus and their cognition? So I will share with you, if you have any questions around like what's a good this, what's a good that, I would be happy to put together a little protocol for you in terms of support. Can my daughter take DIM supplements for painful periods? Yeah, she could. She definitely could. My first suggestion, Abby, is try zinc first. Try zinc first before you start to move into DIM, because DIM is helpful. That helps pull estrogen out, but zinc is a little bit more effective as well. Everything you said are things I'm concerned about. My current doctor told me because I'm getting older. Yeah. And that's all. Well, that's something that I hear from a lot of people, is that their doctors are very dismissive, more so from a conventional standpoint. And there's some great conventional doctors. I mean, there's some crappy holistic doctors. So I'm not here to, say good or bad things about anybody. But sometimes it's true that as we get older, I work with some people that are going through menopause, and they're like, but my doctor just told me I have to live like this. Like having hot flashes that keep me up at night. No. Having acid reflux, it's just normal, right? As I get older, no. Those are not normal things. So if you guys are dealing with things, please work with someone, connect with someone, because you definitely could gracefully go through the aging process and do things to support you. Good morning, everybody. This has been so informative, shocking about the ingredients in the vaccine. Hi, Lisa. Good morning. I'm hearing from EBV. It's a doozy. Oh, you're healing from EBV. Yes. EBV is a very difficult stealth infection to deal with, and it changes our immune system. It's in the herpes family. It is a process whenever you go through healing with any type of stealth infection, whether it's any type of candidiasis, whether it's mold, whether it's metals, mercury, anything like that. Usually mold, different types of mold are pretty toxic as well. So anything stealth, it's a process. It's a process, but I give you a lot of compassion. And I love your name too. I see 4444. I've been seeing numbers everywhere. Angelic numbers, 4444. I hope that you guys found that helpful. And I want to announce the winner of the free bottle of enzymes. And remember, I did this through an app. I literally put this in an app for all of the votes. You guys can still vote if you haven't voted at all, or you're so new to this. Vote. Even if you're not a patient, you can still win something for free. You just send me your screenshot, or when you're on the actual Best of Long Island webpage, you can share the vote. You can email me the vote. So there's ways, if you're like, how do I screenshot it? There's ways to share the vote. But Autumn, oh, such a pretty name. 444, lucky numbers. The winner of the free supplement of choice is Lisa Vogel. Lisa, you have been voting. You have the most votes. Obviously, the generator picked up on that. So we will be in touch. I know we're speaking this week. You're a patient of mine anyways, but we have an appointment this week, you get a free supplement of your choice. So maybe there's something that I shared with you today that you might say, wow, I really like that. I want to try that product. But you won. Thank you so much for your votes. Literally, all of you guys are so amazing for the votes. I don't know, like I said, why the process is so long. It's till December. It's like a 4-month process, voting process. But congratulations to all of the nominees. And you're welcome. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for all your support. I get your email every day. Every morning. So, all right, guys, I hope that was helpful. And if you're new here, thanks for tuning in. If you're a patient of mine, thanks for tuning in nonetheless. And like I said, if you need some support with products or blood work or any of those types of things, please send me a message so that we can support you. And I want to keep doing these videos. So if you have any things, drop them in the comments below in terms of topics, because I want to do this. Well, maybe we'll do another one next week. Have a great Saturday, guys. I'll see you in the next video.